All right. We are started. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. We just started a minute.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Oh my gosh, I knew I was going to do that. Oh, so if you guys have joined us on a Lindsay and Emily show before, we always do them on Thursdays. So you'll have to excuse me. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Lindsay and Emily show. I've got myself here, Lindsay. I have Emily here today.
Hello.
Hello. I also have Emma here today.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, so Emma is a part of our customer success team. Some of you guys have probably worked with her before. She's going to be helping with Q&A and chat. And we also have the lovely Ryan on the line as well.
Hi, everybody.
And you guys probably know Ryan as well. So we're just going to kick it off in just a minute or so. Today, we are going to be talking about integrations. So I did want to point out that on our website, we actually did go live with a new integrations page just today. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about each individual integration, you can do so on our website. It's going to be under the features dropdown and integrations. And there you will see all of our integrations linked. It'll take you to a landing page where you can kind of learn a little bit more about each integration and the resources on that. So Alexander said, Ryan is awesome. There you go, Ryan, already getting a shout out. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Emily, if you want to go to the next slide. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. We just want to give you guys, as always, a feature update of what we've pushed out in the past couple of weeks or so. We are going to touch on every single integration that we have currently. And then Emily is going to cover for us kind of what to expect next. As always, you guys are more than welcome to ask questions throughout the webinar. Try and put them in the Q&A section if you can, because chat can get a little bit cluttered. And as always, try and keep your questions relevant to the topics that we are covering today, so that way we can make the most of our time. If you do have questions that are not relevant to today's topic, feel free to shoot us an email at support@liscio.me, or you can call us or live chat us. Either one is totally fine. And the next slide for us, Emily. Whoa, what a guest. I was going to talk about the YouTube channel. Wow. Okay, so if you have not yet even heard of our YouTube channel, which would be really surprising because I have a very big mouth about it. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I was like, yeah. But if you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. It's where you're going to get some of the most up-to-date information about new features. So whenever we have a new feature in testing, I am in the background creating that video. And once the feature goes live, so does the video. It is also actually where we put all of our past webinar recordings. So just like this one, we will end up putting this webinar recording on our YouTube channel after the webinar, so you can go back and view it, and you can share it with your staff as well. So hit that subscribe button. So Sonia said, so surprised you mentioned your YouTube channel, Lindsay. I know, who would have thought? But you will be notified as we put new videos up. So I always like to plug that. And also, hello, Michael. Michael says, hello, Liscio Team. Yeah. All right, we can keep it going. Keep the train moving.
Okay, well then we're going to talk a little bit about new feature updates. And if you've been in Liscio lately, which I'm sure you have, you've probably seen our nice little pop-up, but we do want to just briefly touch on those as well for everybody. And first up is account reports. And we are so excited for these because we know that you have had to in the past reach out for these reports and get them from our support team, but now no waiting. So you can actually go into your accounts page and download these. I'm just going to show you briefly what that looks like. So if we go into Liscio here and select the accounts page, in the upper right corner, you're going to see the download icon. It's very similar to the way you download a contact report on the contacts page. So you just hit that little button and you are going to get all of the information you'd like to see about your accounts. So just briefly going to show you what that looks like. It will come down into a CSV and you're going to get a lot of really good information. So you're going to see account status, their entity type. A really great column here is client service team. What's nice about this is if you need to make any bulk changes or do a bulk upload of your client service team, you can now just download this report, make changes to this column here, and then send it over to support. And we can upload that right away. So it's going to save you a lot of time, or at least the wait time it would normally take for us to get you this report. And then the next piece, which is really nice here over on the right-hand side, you will see the relationships with the contacts, contact status, and if they're account owners. So you're getting a lot of really good information right there. So that's the new report. And if I go back over here, we also have multi-sign client service team. So you're probably wondering how that's a little different from the bulk client service team. So let me show you. If you are an admin in Liscio, you'll be able to go down to the admin page here, as most of you are familiar with, and into the users section. Now, if I go to an employee over here, let's say Janelle, and I click assign accounts, this little icon here, you'll see in the upper right corner a big blue button to assign accounts to Janelle. Now, this is great for if you're working with a specialist. It's great if you just need to make maybe a new employee part of different client service teams. And what the multi-assign feature is, I can use a search bar, or I can just go down this list and assign multiple accounts to this team member very quickly. So saving you some time beforehand, you had to kind of search each one. So that is our multi-assign client service team. Now, the next one here is the Resource Center and in-product help. So maybe you all have seen this, but we just want to give you a quick preview. The Resource Center on the firm side is actually going to be this little need help tab. You'll notice that even if I'm on this employee section, my inbox, wherever you're at in Liscio, you will actually see this need help tab that then takes you out into several different categories. Now, what you'll notice is that if you click on any of these, it will drop down a list of different options. And what these are is they are guided tours. So within Liscio, you can kind of learn on your own and explore the platform with our help. So you can click on a tour to generate it. It's going to tell you where to go, what to do, and it's going to give you tips and best practices along the way. Okay. The other thing you're going to notice is we are going to start adding some webinar registrations down here. We're going to add the integration page Lindsay talked about. So the Resource Center will have additions to it. So it's always a good thing to keep an eye out on. Now, I do briefly just want to show you with the in-product help for the client side. So if I just go over here into what your client can see, you'll notice that there's a need help checklist for the clients. So it's going to give them some options for what we know they use the most as far as features in Liscio. They do have the option to close this down and not see it anymore. But we hope that they kind of keep it there, especially for those 1040 clients that are only in Liscio occasionally. We do suggest that they keep that around. And then there'll be a few other little helpful hotspots around here where they can learn more about tours or notifications. So if you have a test contact, log in and play around with this on your side. If you're going through either the client or the firm side and you're thinking there should be other tours or you have some suggestions that we just haven't created yet, please let us know. We're more than happy to put these together for you. Okay, so I'm going to pop this back open here and we'll move on to the next thing. And that is for Lindsay.
Woohoo! You want to stop sharing and I'll share my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, oh yeah, and now you guys can see Emma and Ryan. I'm like, I'll leave it up. Just kidding. Also, I wanted to give the support team here at Liscio a big round of applause for that resource center. They spent a ton of time on that and it just has come out beautifully. So great job on that, guys. It's going to be really
great job, team.
Good job. Very good job. So let's talk about Liscio integrations. Now, what you're seeing right now is what we currently integrate with. Okay, so our goal is actually to connect with all of the systems that you're using. And here's what we have so far. We'll touch later on what you can, come to expect, but we're going to cover what we currently integrate with right now. So you can see this actually in a little bit more detail, as I mentioned, on liscio.me/integrations. I'll actually put a link in the chat real quick, just so you have it. This is where you can check out each integration a little bit more, and you can learn about some of the resources that we have for each as well. So let's kind of dive into it. So first of all, there are two places in Liscio where you can get to integrations. You can go to them in your profile section. That's going to be under third-party apps. And then also for some of the bigger and deeper integrations that we have, you're going to go to the admin section and then integrations. And that's where you'll find the two. All right, let's talk about Adobe Sign and Liscio. Now, this has been around for a while. So some of you that are Liscio veterans, you probably are like, oh yeah, I already know about this. But we wanted to remind people that this is available. So this is a way that you can actually make it really easy for your clients to sign forms or fill out questionnaires for you on their mobile phone, right? So it's a way that they can do electronic signatures such as 8879s. We do have KBA enabled with that as well. So let's take a look at what that actually looks like on the client side. It's really nice and simple for them to do. I have put my grandma through the test with this just to see if it's as user-friendly as I like to say it is, and it is. She did a wonderful job. So they'll get a task, they'll be able to review and sign it and fill out any information. As I did mention, it does have KBA capabilities. We use a third party called LexisNexis. I'm not going to go through everything on Adobe Sign today because we've done a ton of stuff on it in the past, and so I have a ton of resources for you guys. I did want to show you guys though, just kind of an example of what it looks like. So Adobe Sign is actually fully embedded into Liscio. Now the perk of this is that there is no additional login for staff or for clients, right? So it's not an additional subscription. You only pay for what you use, you buy bundles, and the bundles actually bring the price per document down, and the bundles never expire. But it really is as simple as dragging a signature field onto your form and sending it off to a client. You can also send it to more than one person at a time. So you can do it to a husband and wife, or maybe a couple of business partners, for example. Now, as I mentioned, we have a ton of resources over Adobe Sign. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this one in particular today because we have a lot of other stuff we're going to cover, and we have so much content out there for you guys. So we do have, if you're curious, you may have heard of the Get a Signature task versus eDocs, which is the Adobe Sign integration, right? If you want to learn about the difference between those two integrations, check out the electronic signatures in Liscio, Coffee Break with Lindsay. Oh gosh, it just rings. So check out that video because it's going to talk about the differences. You also can learn how to set up eDocs and how to use eDocs. And then Chris actually did a pro tips for eDocs webinar that's also on our YouTube channel. So we have a ton of stuff out there. And then I see Alexander has a question. I only see Adobe Sign for my integration page. OneDrive, Google Drive, and Zoom aren't there. So I will actually show you, Alexander, where those items live in just a second. So I'll show you where you can find those. So additionally, one of the major perks with using the Adobe Sign integration is that as soon as a document is signed, it's automatically converted to a PDF. And then that file is also automatically stored in the client's file section. So because you are sending a task to a contact and the account, right? They're tied when you send them. That file is automatically filed in that account and that contact. So that means your staff and the client can actually go to that file section and find that file when they need it. So 6 months down the line, if your client needs a copy of their signed 8879, they can go to their files tab and it's going to be there for them, right? So it's automatically stored. You don't have to move it or anything. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's a really, really big perk to that. So unless we have questions on eDocs, I'm going to move forward and we're going to kind of get into some of the other integrations. Like I mentioned, ton of resources. Okay, I see Emily had her thumbs up, so we are good to go. All right, so let's talk about Zoom and Liscio. So this is actually a way that you can make it a little bit easier for your clients to meet with you on the go. You are going to use what's called a virtual meeting task. So when you create a virtual meeting task in Liscio, it actually will pull in your Zoom information. And your clients can actually join your Zoom meeting directly from that task. Now, I do want to get into the platform and actually show you where you can find that. So Alexander, this is going to answer one of your questions. Where can I find the Zoom and the OneDrive integration? So you are going to go to your profile section. So I'm going to hold my mouse here just for a second so you guys can kind of see where I am pointing to. It's going to be your name in the bottom left corner. So I'm going to click on my name, and then you are going to go to third-party apps. This is where you will find all of our file storage connections and also the Zoom connection. These are really, really simple to set up. You hit connect, you sign in, and that's pretty much it. It's probably going to ask you to authorize it depending on the app, but that's it. It's really, really simple. So let me just show you quickly what it, okay, let me see. I knew this question was going to pop up. Emily, I told you. So Leah's asking, will Liscio be able to set the Zoom meeting on your Google Calendar as well? Emily, can you answer that for me? Because I know you know this a little bit better than I do.
Yes, it actually has something to do with the way that Zoom generates the meeting ID. So they are going to actually generate the random meeting ID within the integration in Liscio, and that's separate from how it would populate on your calendar. So right now there's kind of a missing piece in Zoom that allows us to have that connection. In the future, if there's any way that we can go back and connect that, we certainly will look at it, and we will definitely let you know if we get to that point.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Leah. That was a really good question. We knew that was going to pop up. So thank you for being the one to ask it today. All right. So let's just show you quickly what it looks like just to create a virtual meeting task. It's really, really simple. Okay. Oh, Jesse says, I use Zapier to accomplish the Zoom issue. That is so smart.
Genius.
That is so smart. Thank you, Jesse. That's genius. That's perfect. See, this is why we all get together. This is why we have the Facebook group as well. So you guys can go in there and bounce ideas off of each other. That's
do a little research on that and see if we can get a knowledge base article about how that's done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so to create a virtual meeting task, you can click add new task and you can choose the virtual meeting task, right? So here you're going to select your contact and your account just like you would any other task. So you set it up. You are actually going to choose the date and time of the meeting, and you can also choose the duration. And then all you have to do once your Zoom is actually connected, you just check this virtual meeting box and it will actually bring in all of your Zoom details for you, right? So it's going to have the meeting, it'll have your meeting ID. If you have a password set on your Zoom room, it'll have that as well. So your client will actually get this as a mobile push notification. They'll get an email notification about it as well. If they want to join on the browser, they can just pop open this task and click right there on that link, or they can join via the mobile app. They can click on that link, and then if they've got Zoom on their phone, it'll pop up for them. So that's pretty much it on the Zoom integration. It's really simple, but it just lets you kind of schedule things with your clients inside of Liscio without having to send like an email to them, right? Okay. Any questions on Zoom? Good so far? Okay, perfect. All right, the next one okay, let's see. All right, I'll save that question. Lisa, I see your question. We will save that for just a second. So let's talk about Liscio and Outlook, okay? So Liscio and Outlook is actually meant to help eliminate data silos, right? So often what happens when you're working in email with clients is you're going to get an email and the other staff member in your firm has no idea that you received it, right? The client calls in, they talk to that other staff member, and they kind of have to repeat themselves, right? That's what we want to get rid of. We also use this Outlook integration or plugin, some say plugin, to help with client adoption. If you have clients that are continuously emailing you and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get them to stop emailing me, this is actually a perfect way to push their message from Outlook into Liscio and reply to them right there. So it's beautiful. So let's get into this a little bit. And I will also kind of show you how it works. So this is where you actually you can do three main things. You can create tasks, messages, and notes in Liscio directly from your Outlook inbox. The really cool thing here is that if someone has an attachment with that original email, it will actually come over in whatever you've created in Liscio. So that attachment comes with that original message as well. So I do quickly want to just show you kind of how it works. I'm going to first show you where you can get it. So again, profile section. Okay, so profile section in your bottom left corner, you're going to go to Liscio download apps and you will see Liscio for Outlook. And there's going to be some installation info. This should be fairly simple for you to set up. If you do have issues with it, we always recommend ask Liscio support. They are geniuses in this department at this point, so they are going to be able to help you with any of this. Now, any questions, Emily, that I should answer before we dive into to an actual demo of it?
Oh, no, let's do the demo.
Okay,
Sure.
perfect. Then we'll do that. Okay. So let's say, for example, now I have this example in here because sometimes you may get people that are third parties that you work with, right? They're people that you talk with maybe a couple times a year, and you're probably not going to be adding them into Liscio, right? You can through this integration if you want, but you can also just push something very quietly. So as you see, you can actually, when you pop open this plugin, you can pin it. So it always stays up there whenever you're on an email. There are, as I mentioned, 3 things you can do here. You can send a message, create a task, create a note. Now, just as a reminder, for those of you that may not remember, notes are internal only. So your clients cannot see them. It's just for you and your staff. So I'm going to go ahead and create a note about this. Maybe this is something that I just need to remember to get back to, and my team needs to also be aware of this. So I can hit create note. What I'm going to do is actually choose the contact that this is for. So this is actually Nathan James. It's going to pop him up here, and it will auto choose the account if he just has one that he's tied to, or if he has multiple, I can choose which account this is going to be associated with. Now, what you're going to notice is that this actually does have the original message right here for me. I also do have the attachment here as well. I can choose to not bring it over if I'd like. So here's where I can write a little bit of note. I can say, Nathan sent this over. Reminder to get this to our client. Okay. I can add like a little line there if I just want to say like original message or something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and create the note. Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Emily.
Oh, sorry. Before you move on, we had a really good question. Somebody asked if you could do this in the browser version or the desktop version. You can do it in both. The add-in you can add it into either desktop or browser version of Outlook.
Perfect. Perfect. Now I do on this same example, I just want to show you how to create a task quickly. Now, when you do a task through the Outlook plugin, you obviously won't be able to do like a get a signature task. It's a little bit more robust, right? But you can do something as simple as a request information. You can also do an internal to do. So this is also just a reminder that this is internal. You can choose the person that it's going to be for. So if you want to assign it to yourself or someone else, maybe I want to assign it to Emily. I'll choose the contact that I am actually going to be tying this to. And again, to-dos are internal. The contact can't actually see this. This is just for our personal reference. And I can say something like, hi, Emily, see below, make sure this gets to Nathan. And I'm going to go ahead and create the task. Okay. We've got a couple of good questions. I see this. Okay. So before I get to your guys' questions, I'm just going to go into the platform and show you what that looks like now that I have it in there, and then we'll get to questions. So when I come over to my task page, I created a to-do for Emily. So here it is right in the platform. And then I just want to show you kind of how it comes over. So here is the original message, the attachment here. And then if I go under ABC company, and then I'm going to go under notes. Here is, oh wait, I chose the wrong company. That's my bad, guys. But it'll have all that information in here. So I see we have a ton of questions. So let's get to some questions. What do we have, Emily?
Okay, yeah, lots of good questions. So we got asked if you could pop back into the Outlook really quick, Lindsay. Somebody
Yes.
Amy would like us to explain what the add from email button is for.
Is that?
Right there. Right, but next to description.
Okay, gotcha.
So basically that add from email, it's going to be checked automatically because what the add-in does is it's going to take the contents, the text of the email and bring it into that description box because that's how it will get pushed into Liscio. So if Lindsay were to uncheck that box, it basically would wipe everything. So you want to, it's already automatically going to be in there. So you want to, most of the time, keep that checked.
Really good. Okay.
Then the next question was from Mary. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
She's kind of asking if this makes it so clients can stay in email and not have to log into Liscio, but that's not really what we're going for. What we're trying to do is make it easier for you if a client is maybe having a little bit of a harder time, adjusting and that transition, getting into Liscio. They might send you an email here or there on accident. You don't have to download a PDF of the email or copy and paste it. You can use this Outlook add-in to just quickly respond, saving yourself several minutes. And the other idea is if maybe a client forwards something, let's say from a vendor, they don't want to take it all out of email, send it through Liscio, they just forward it to you. That's fine. Now you can just quickly push it into Liscio, saving yourself again several minutes.
Yeah. And Mary, what this will do is so for example, if let's say Nathan is one of my clients who kind of forgets to get into Liscio, what I'm going to do is actually send him a message reply to his email. So I can actually say, hi, Nathan, happy to help. And then I can respond to him here. What that's going to do when I send that message is it sends the message in Liscio, and Nathan will actually get an email notification that he has a new message from me in Liscio, right? So it's directing him again back to Liscio. These are really good questions. Oh my gosh. Very good. Okay, let's see. Oh, Doreen's asking, can this add-in be uninstalled if I change my mind about using it? Yes. Yeah, you'll be able to uninstall it. Okay, let's see. Another question is, does the ad from email bring in all their signature stuff too, or is it just the body? It does bring in the signature. So if they have like a whole signature down here with their telephone number and stuff, it will bring that in.
But where Lindsay was kind of typing in the description earlier, if you want to clean some of that out before pushing it into Liscio, you could.
Yeah, so I can take any of this stuff away. Very good. Okay, let's see. What else do we have?
We'll answer maybe one or two more and then move on. We have a lot of questions, so the rest of the team will come in and type their answer to you. But I would like to answer one from Doreen. She's wondering maybe if we could give a sneak peek of the pending 365 integration and timing. Right now, that is still something we're working on. We do not have anything to show just yet, but of course, as you know, we like to host monthly webinars. Chris is also going to be doing a roadmap webinar, although I think we are still kind of planning out our 365 integrations. We've also had some people ask about SharePoint that is on the same, the roadmap as well. So when we get there and we have a little more to show you and a little more about timing, we will certainly make that available.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint now. You guys had great questions. Thank you so much for being so engaged during this. Oh my God, what did you know? Another plug at the YouTube channel before I hand the keys back to Emily? Who would have thought? Okay, all right, that's enough. I will give Emily the screen back and she's going to start talking about the rest of the integrations. The team here, Emma and Ryan, will actually get to some of the other questions that you guys asked. So thank you so much for your engagement.
Okay, so we want to talk to you a little bit about the other integrations, the Google Drive, OneDrive, and SmartVault that are for your files. So of course, sharing files securely with clients and your staff without actually having to get out of Liscio and do so. So with that, I want to go into Liscio, and we've already seen this page, but just to remind you that if you go to your profile, there's a section called third-party apps, and that is where you're going to see those options to connect. These ones take just a moment to log in and connect. We also, in the Need Help tab, will have tours teaching you how to connect to each of these. Now, one thing to just note that the OneDrive, Google Drive, and SmartVault integrations are the first version of these integrations. So they're pretty surface level. We will build these out a little bit more in the future. But what that means is they are a one-way file exchange, meaning you'll go in from Liscio into OneDrive, Google Drive, or SmartVault, pull files out of that into Liscio. So what that looks like, you can do it through a message or a task or a file upload. But let's say if I am in my files, you'll see the option down here, whatever you're connected to. You might only see, Google Drive or SmartVault. You can connect to all three. But the idea here is that once you're connected, you can click on what you're looking to connect or what you're looking to grab a file from, search for that file and attach it into Liscio. So I'll just go ahead and grab this document. Oh, I didn't mean to open it. Well, you can open it by hitting preview. And then I'm going to hit select. And I could do several documents. I'm just putting one in here right now. So it's going to be very simple. Once you connect, you can go into SmartVault, OneDrive, Google Drive, pull files from in there and put them into Liscio. And that's as easy as it is. Guessing we don't have any questions on that. Do we have anything?
We do have some questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So let's see. One of the questions is, does each user in the firm need to add the third-party apps for their own login?
Yes, that is a fantastic question. Each person will need to come in here and connect with their own login information.
Super easy to do. Does not take very long. Let's see. We have another question from Doreen. Is this OneDrive integration for business and personal?
Well, you actually get the option. So you can only connect to one of the accounts at a time. So when you go to connect, it will ask you, okay, which of your OneDrive accounts do you want to connect to? You make that selection and then it will be connected. So you can only have one at a time, but you can choose which one you want to connect to.
Perfect. Very good. We've got another question from Leanne Long. Hi, Leanne. Can you put items from Liscio into OneDrive? So from Liscio into OneDrive.
Not at this time, but I know that that is something we've talked a lot about, and I believe that is going to be something we do likely next year, but I don't think we're going to have that for you this year. And if we do, of course, you always know we like to keep you up to date. So if anything changes, you guys will be the first to know.
Yeah, and YouTube will be the first to know as well.
And
just thought I'd throw that out there.
Subscribers.
Oh, we've got two questions actually that are pretty much the same. One from Miriam, one from Tim. Hello to both of you. The question is ShareFile. Will that be considered as an integration in the future?
Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. We can definitely ask and see about that, but I do not know the answer at this time.
Yeah, and I would say for those of you that are starting to have a lot of questions about the specific integrations we're going to have on our roadmap, like Emily mentioned, I believe Chris is going to be doing a roadmap webinar in the near future for customers. Be sure to come to that. Chris is the man with all the answers here. So he's going to be the guy that you want to show up and you grill him and you, no, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding. But show up, ask him questions. That's going to be a really great place for you guys to ask certain questions that we may not have the answers to at this point. So
Lindsay said it. I didn't, Chris. Blame her.
Chris is going to give me a talking to. He's like typing right now. Just kidding. Okay.
We'll move on. But if you have more questions, of course, everyone's in the chat. So I know that this one's pretty highly anticipated, whether you're familiar with Karbon or it's something you haven't quite done much with yet. We do want to talk a little bit about our new integration. So it's really going to be, we're going to have several versions of it. Let me put it that way. Right now, you can kind of take a moment to glance over this slide. I know there's a bit of information, quite a bit of information, but Lindsay, maybe you can post that integration link again in the chat. Our integrations page at liscio.me does have all of this under the Karbon section. So feel free to visit that page and get all of the information. So we're just going to touch lightly on it today, but there's a lot going on here. And to start, we're going to help with basically creating that single database. We want to help you save a lot of time on that data re-entry that you're doing across all of your systems. So starting with Karbon, we're working on, basically you can kind of see it here, creating a contact or account in Liscio will auto sync to Karbon. And I'm going to show you here momentarily how to sync your existing information and our machine engine that helps map everything as well. So I'll give you a preview, and there's going to be a lot of really good information about this on our website and YouTube here shortly. So if we don't get everything answered here for you right away, you will have a lot of places to look for information. Okay, so let's get started. First, you're going to be able to set this up if you are an admin. So same place as eDocs and the Adobe sign, I should say, admin and then integrations. Now, I want to just make sure that everybody notes if you need Karbon if you want to connect to Karbon, we actually will enable it for you. It's not going to be on this integration page automatically. We're kind of in a beta testing phase with it. So, but if you would like it, you just have to let us know and we'll enable it. That can be done in less than 24 hours. So once you have it enabled, you can connect, and it's a very simple process. We actually have a really great Loom video done by our very own Ryan and Emma on how to get this all set up. So that's all on the Help Center, and we're happy to help you if you need it. But once you connect to Karbon, you will see a few options. You'll be able to sync, and then once the sync has completed, view the details. And this is really where things get very, very cool. So what you'll see is with the data in Liscio and the data in Karbon, it will match anything that it recognizes as the same. And then from here, it's also going to help you match anything that has not yet been matched. So there's several ways to do this. Basically, you can look at the auto suggest. It's going to let you know, hey, we see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 company in Karbon, but not in Liscio. Would you like to match it? Or would you like to create it? So I can just click create in Liscio, and it takes just a moment, and boom, that account is right in Liscio now. Once I hit refresh. And then I can do the same thing. Let's say here, I have this in Liscio, but not in Karbon. I can go ahead and create that in Karbon very quickly. So you can kind of match all of that information with less manual data entry. And then once you've synced your accounts here, anytime your team creates a brand new account or contact in Liscio, you know, you add somebody new here, maybe a business gets a new employee and you add them into Liscio, that is all going to automatically create them in Karbon. Again, that single database is really what we're going for here. So another really great thing is, let's say we have Stephanie Andrews here. I'm going to search for her. So I can search for her. I see she's in Liscio, but I'm going to create in Karbon. So now she's going to have that contact information is going to be in Karbon. And what's really nice is all of the details, her primary email address, that will also sync over into Karbon as well. And then I do want to also sync one more piece that's going to be maybe her company. Andrew's our exhibit. So I can see here, it's already synced over. Great. So what I want to show you is that if the client, here I'm logged in as Stephanie, she comes in and she decides to change her phone number. Maybe she's in the mobile app, maybe she's on the computer, but either way, if she comes in and she changes this phone number and updates the account, what you'll notice, okay, we got that updated. What you'll notice is that when I come over here into Karbon and I look at, let's see, my organizations, and I search for Andrew's art exhibit, getting notified of the changes Stephanie has made. Oh, let's see. It should, did I do that right? Sorry, I will say that we are all very new to Karbon, so we are all still learning. So my example is not working the way I wanted it to, but what should happen is I should see the information here. And maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way.
Is it under details, perhaps?
Am I oh, see, our faces were covering it up. It so much better. Okay.
Zoom just loves it. Zoom likes to mess you up.
Okay, and we should see all of that sync over. Okay, maybe I didn't sync it correctly, but Lindsay is right. It would be in the details here. Again, I'm still getting used to it myself. So the idea though is that if your clients do make those changes, what I can do as well is I can actually go back to that integrations page and I can hit sync in case anything has been changed and needs to be synced again. So that is the way it will work. If you or your team make changes in Liscio or your clients make changes to their Liscio profile, it will sync over into Karbon and just keep your team from having to do all that manual data entry.
Perfect. Yeah, we actually have a couple of questions if you're ready for that. Okay, so
Yes, I will
Candy,
just prepare everybody. I may not be able to answer everything at this time.
yeah, it's very new. We are still getting used to it. Yeah. Okay, so Candy's asking, do you have to sync them individually or will it be automatic?
When you connect if your data in Karbon, or if your data in Karbon is matching your data like this here in Liscio, it will connect automatically when you sync.
Yes, and Candy, to add to that, if the name is slightly off, like if it's 134 Coffee LLC in Liscio and then 134 Coffee Inc. in Karbon, that would require manual connection because they're not the exact same. Okay, so let's see. Oh, so many good questions. Okay, so Doreen is asking, can I exclude contacts or accounts from syncing? I don't think that's possible, correct?
That we'd have to ask. I'm not sure about that. I believe when you first connect and you choose to sync, it's going to match the information that's the exact same. But you can go through and, sorry, I clicked into Karbon. If I go back to view details, I could go over here and I could de-link. Let's say I don't want Karbon to update with ABC Company One's information if it does get updated. So I can de-link them.
Really good question.
Now, just
yeah, go
really
ahead.
quick, I have one more little thing for them. On the right-hand corner, you can download a report. So if you're thinking, Emily, I have 1 million pages, how will I de-link all of these off the top of my head? We do have a report you can download and sort through.
Perfect. Lori has a good question. Lori, I'm not sure that we'll be able to answer this for you, but we will certainly try and help possibly after the webinar. Lori's asking for Karbon. Is there a way to easily sync our data from TR Practice CS to Karbon if we wanted to start using Karbon? Have you guys heard of people doing that yet?
That would likely be a great question for Karbon support. So Karbon support is going to have a lot of those answers. And if you already have Karbon, there's actually a way to get help right over here from their team, or go get a demo and talk to their sales team or their support team if you have those questions.
Yeah, they're really, really great over there at Karbon. So I'm sure they will be able to help you with that. Okay, we have another question. We've got a question from Mary. Hi, Mary again. Mary says, from what I remember, Karbon was very email centric. Does the integration replace any emails Karbon would send with Liscio messages, tasks, etc.?
So that's a beautiful question. You are talking right about our roadmap. So again, this is our first version of the Karbon integration. So we will build into it, and there's a lot of really great features that we are working on and designing to connect. And really, the nice thing about Karbon is that we can have a really deep integration with them. And we'll talk actually about that in the next few slides under what to expect next.
Yeah, and this kind of goes along with Alexander's question. Alexander is asking, will client tasks in Karbon mirror the client tasks in Liscio? So is that something that we've got on the roadmap? That's what the deeper integration is going to create eventually? Well, actually, I think Karbon tasks are more back office. So they're going to be workflow related.
That's one thing to just really help yourself just to kind of keep straight that the client-facing tasks in Liscio for clients, and then Karbon is meant to be your back office project tasks. But there are some things that I can kind of explain here in just a moment that I think will help answer that question.
Yeah. We have just a couple more questions about Karbon, and then we can move on to the roadmap where TJ, I see your question. We'll answer that on the roadmap section. So we've got a couple questions about like the syncing. So Kim is asking, what if you make a change in Karbon? Will it automatically change in Liscio as well?
That will be the next step.
Next step for the integration.
Yes. So right now, all it's doing is it's going to sync all the information for you. That way, if your clients make changes in Liscio, that will all be updated in Karbon automatically.
Yes. So Tim, this actually goes along with your question. Will Liscio overwrite Karbon or vice versa? Which data set has priority?
Great question. At this time, we have, I believe Liscio overwrites Karbon.
Yes. And then Amy's asking, are there additional fees to utilize Karbon? So you would need a Karbon subscription, I believe, to utilize the Karbon integration. So you can always chat with the Karbon team. We're not familiar with their pricing, but they are awesome to talk with. So highly recommend. Okay. I think we are good on the Karbon questions for now. So we can move on to the roadmap. Oh, you've already covered that part. And then TJ, we'll answer your question once we kind of dig into this a little bit more.
Okay, so task templates, we will have them very soon. You'll know why they're just a little bit later this month in a moment here, but just be prepared to kind of what we're doing right now in preparation of this great task template feature is feel free to start setting up your task template outlines and what you want as your templates in like a Word doc, basically, so that when the feature is available, you can just paste everything in there and start using them right away. That's our suggestion right now, is just start building your templates. That way, the day it comes out, you can paste everything in there and start utilizing the feature. The next thing is integrations, and we kind of talked about this with Karbon a little bit. So we're just at the very tip of what we will be doing. We plan on expanding into Karbon much more. Like somebody mentioned, are the tasks going to sync, or the messages? The idea is that's what we're looking for the integration to do is, if you have clients sending files into Liscio, you get those files into Karbon to start a job. The team notices that maybe the file is not correct. Karbon can then shoot out a new task to your client through Liscio, letting them know you're missing a file. So there's going to be, that's just one piece. We're going to have a lot more built out in that. But again, Chris is going to have that roadmap webinar. Highly recommend being there. And then there have already been some Karbon and Liscio webinars out there as well. If you're interested in finding out more about those, you can always email support, and I'm sure we can find links to those. And then SmartVault as well is going to be expanded on even more. So we did see this page here, the integrations, and right now you just have Karbon, but I just want to let you know kind of what the vision is here. This page, and why this took us a little time to build it out, is because it's not just going to be for Karbon. Our vision is really to allow you to connect to any system you're using. Of course, I know somebody asked about ShareFile earlier, but we'll find out more information on that. But the idea really is to say, hey, you're using this system. Yeah, let's connect so that you can have that single database going on here. And I think the idea is even to have SmartVault here so you can sync Liscio, Karbon, and SmartVault folders. So we are going to have a lot more for you within the next year or so. So you definitely keep an eye out for all of that. And then the other piece here is QBO and Xero. Both of those will be coming. Of course, billing is actually, we just got it out for testing today. So that's a really big accomplishment. We're super excited to get our hands on it. That is why task templates have taken a little bit of a seat, but we'll have those out very soon. So naturally with billing and Liscio invoicing, QBO will come along with that. So the idea is really just to normalize the sync across all of the systems and saving you a lot of time throughout your day. Let's see what else. Out of office, they said that they've been starting to work on that, so we should have that soon. I do not have dates or anything, but please continue to join our webinars. And if you've seen the little pop-ups where we tell you there's a new feature, we will always do that with these big features. So keep an eye out. We will definitely let you know as soon as it's available. And then another really big piece is something that I don't think we've told anybody about. Actually.
Yeah, I don't think we've told anyone. I've seen it in like the testing screens, and oh my gosh.
Well, it's not, I don't even think we have it in testing. It's just purely
just the Envision screens, right? Yeah.
So just to explain what we mean by that is we aren't going to have this, this month, but there's a really awesome feature that they've just gotten a design for. And basically it's meant to help with transparency. And it's allowing you to create custom views in your inbox, in your tasks, and we'll see where else they can put it. But the idea is that if you want to, you're in your inbox and I'm saying, okay, I'd like to see what Lindsay's messages look like. She's out of the office today. I'll be able to create a custom view and see all of the messages coming into her inbox. Or maybe we get a new employee and I just want to monitor how they're working with the different clients. I can have a custom view set up to monitor their inbox. So we're going to give you a lot more transparency into the way you need to look at different inboxes and tasks, I guess, across your team.
Really good. This
Yeah.
is gonna be awesome. Yeah, when Chris showed me the design screens of that, I was like, oh my gosh, it was so
Yeah.
So we do have some questions. First of all, I just want to point out Wayne's question, which I love. Out of office, how will we get our work done if we take vacations? I'm like, Wayne, with Liscio's Firm Dash, you can really work from the beach if you want, but I wouldn't suggest it. So we've got a couple of questions. Wendy is asking, can we suggest connections? We use Jetpack Workflow and that connection would be awesome. The answer is yes. So us at Liscio, we really like feedback. We don't want to integrate with something if no one's using it, right? So we like to hear from our customers and hear what they're using. So certainly if you have something in mind that you're looking for, then yes, shoot it our way and we will kind of keep a tally of that.
And I believe we have been talking with Jetpack. So
we've got how about Asana? Again, have you heard about Asana, Emily?
I've heard we're talking about Asana, and I've also heard about Financial Sense.
Okay, good. Okay. So we've got TJ, I'm finally going to get to your question. I'm sorry to leave you hanging for so long. TJ's question is, are there plans for Liscio to integrate with Onvio? So unfortunately, Onvio is a closed environment. So we don't have the option to, essentially, because they are closed. They don't have an open API. If they are to open up their system and have an open API, then we would certainly jump on that because we know that it would be highly requested by customers. But unfortunately, we don't have the option for that. Alexander is asking, I didn't see Gmail on there. Was the project dropped? No, the project was not dropped. Gmail is coming. It's still a work in progress. Google actually changed the way that add-ins function a little bit. So the project is still in progress. So not dropped. Gmail is still on the list. We have another question. Gordon, hi, Gordon. It's so nice to, well, I was going to say see you, but I can't, but I'm happy that you're here. Gordon's asking, what about TR practice? Again, that's going to be the same answer for Onvio. If they are willing and to open up their system and integrate, then certainly we would jump on that. Let's see. We've got a couple of things.
Somebody also mentioned ClickUp. Yes, we're talking about ClickUp as well.
Oh, awesome. Okay, great. We've got a question from Jason. Jason is and Emily, you may be able to answer this a little bit better than me or not. Maybe it's something for the roadmap webinar. What will be included in the QBO integration?
I think the way it will work is client changes information or somebody makes a change to account information, address, phone number in Liscio. We can push that into Karbon. We can also update their contact and data in QBO. So that single database. And then the other piece is billing. You'll be able to send invoices out with the Liscio billing. Now, just to make it clear, we will be using Liscio billing internally first for Liscio subscriptions. So we can really test it thoroughly, make sure we're good on that. Then we'll release it to everybody else to use with your clients. When that's done, once you receive payment from your client, then Liscio would push that invoice or that information back into QuickBooks for you. Now that's the surface level. That's what I know. Of course, as we get that integration and we actually get to kind of see everything that's been done, we will certainly have more information.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason's got another question. Can there be an integration with Google Forms? I don't know if that's been talked about or
there's been talk.
See, these people know a lot more than me at this point.
Talking about basically if we can integrate with it, we want to. If it works and that it's the right move, we will consider it, definitely.
I guess my head's just stuck in some videos. Maybe I'm just in YouTube all day long. We've got another question about, the Karbon subscription. So you'll need a Karbon subscription to have the QBO integration. That's not.
Oh, right? No, I'm sorry. I should clarify. You don't need Karbon to have QBO, but basically if a client makes a change in Liscio, we will make sure that, their phone number, if it gets changed, that would change their phone number in QuickBooks if you have that connection set up.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Stacy is asking, have we looked at an integration with Constant Contact for things like newsletters?
I don't know about that. That's pretty interesting. I've not heard.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that, Stacy, if you want to give us a bit more information on that and kind of what you're looking to get out of it, definitely shoot us an email. Let's see. We've got a question, another from Gordon. Hi, Gordon. How about Microsoft Teams?
I believe we're trying to do a lot, pretty much 360, as much as we can do with Office 365. So Teams would be part of that, but that's as much as I know.
All right, we've got a question from Mary. She's asking, are you looking at us having the ability to see if a client opened a file we've sent them?
Oh, like read receipt, essentially,
Yes.
on a file. We've put that out there for developers, so they definitely know it's being requested. We don't have it on our upcoming roadmap at this point, but it's definitely something we'd like to put out there for discussion.
Yeah, as you can see, 2021 is going to be a really huge year for Liscio and for our amazing developers. So,
And integrations have been like the #1 thing we're working on. So
I know. Well, weren't you saying, Emily, when we were putting this deck together, you mentioned that the integrations that we have, what we've got 7 of them now, those were all within the past year or so, which is just really incredible.
I think the first step was eDocs in December 2019, and since then we have now 7.
I know. Oh my gosh, it's so wild. Guys, I have been with Liscio now for like 4 years, and I'm just like seeing all of this stuff change is just blowing my mind. It's so wild. We do have a question from Christina. She's asking, will Karbon have the same security features as Liscio?
I don't really know. That's something I'm not sure of. I'm guessing since we're integrating with them, they've done, I know that we've had to take a lot of steps to make sure that things are secure when it comes to integrating with anybody that we integrate, any of our partners. So I'm sure that they've gotten everything there taken care of. As far as Karbon as a system, I would say that if we're integrating with them, they're pretty trustworthy. But if you want to get maybe down into how they keep their stuff secure, definitely talk to their team.
Yeah, they'll have the answers for you on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, really good questions. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much for all of your great questions. You guys are always so engaged. I love it. It makes the webinars just, I feel like we're hanging out, you know? We do have a question from Wayne. Emily, you may be able to help with this one. He's saying this question goes back to Adobe Signature. Sometimes when we send the return to the client, they use their own Adobe account or somehow sign it digitally. Is this a valid way to sign for the IRS?
So I do not know. I would definitely check the IRS site, or if you have anybody that helps with, the legal part of your firm, I would ask them. I'm not certain if that is considered.
Yeah, and typically if it's going to be like an 8879, obviously you do have to have KBA alongside with it. When you do send something for signature with KBA through Liscio, like the 8879, and it's signed, they actually at the very last page of that document will have a KBA token. So that's something that if the IRS ever came back and needed you to actually, verify that it was a legitimate thing signed electronically, you'd be able to give them that token and they would be able to verify it with LexisNexis, I'm pretty sure. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh my gosh, you guys really are. So I'm loving this. So, so thank you guys so much for joining us. That's pretty much all we had for you guys today. Just kind of wanted to go over some of the main integrations. Again, if you want to know a little bit more about the integrations, I'm going to throw this link in the chat real quick. You guys can go to each of these individual pages, learn more about each integration and find the resources attached to each. If you need help, if you need to give us some feedback or have some suggestions or requests on integrations,
or you just want to talk to us, and
or if you just want to chat, you can email us at support@liscio.me. You can also do live chat on our website. Obviously, I did just want to throw out again, we will be putting this recording up on our YouTube channel following the webinar. Give me just a little bit. I'll be the person to do that for us. If you subscribe and have your notifications set up, you will be notified when that video goes live, and feel free to send it out to your staff. So that way you guys can kind of review it. And then as we mentioned, we are looking for Chris to have a roadmap webinar. We don't have the date or the time nailed down just yet, but it is something that he is planning. So if you have a lot of questions about kind of roadmap and integrations.
And we will be hosting a file management and best practices webinar next month. It's going to be the support team. So we won't have Lindsay there, but the support team is awesome. So we'll have everybody there teaching best practices for files.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will make sure that I review the deck 5 times before they do the webinar, so I can just throw my little YouTube plugs in there because you already know that's going to happen. So thank you again for joining us. We'll let you guys go and get on with your day. We appreciate you taking the time with us. Thank you to Emma and Ryan for helping us with questions. And we will see, well, I won't see you guys next month, but these guys will. So
we will see you next month.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.